GM fam, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Avatar, number one podcast in the metaverse. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got a very special guest on that only a few of you probably have seen on the show, and none of you have seen the face of, unless maybe you know him in real life. I got my buddy Paper here, and he was on the show, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And we recorded it, but something happened to the recording and there was only like 20 minutes of it that actually recorded. So that isn't on YouTube or anywhere for any of you to see. So I wanted to get him back on because he dropped a bunch of knowledge for us the first time around. And I know there's a lot more that we could dive into. So, and I was going to have you on multiple times anyways, I'm sure. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be back. It was a very rare episode for the people who were tuning in at the time.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell
It
yeah.
was bound to happen.
Before we kind of dive on into everything, and everything is whatever we end up talking about. You want to just give people just like a quick little intro of who you are, what you've been up to, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So I'm Paper. I mainly am a crypto trader. That's how I make my money. I've been doing crypto for like 6.5 years at this point. It does not feel like that long, but maybe 5.5 years, one of the two. It's been too long. I lost count. So yeah, I mean, I just do trading for the most part. I'm 24/7 Web3, and I'm also a music producer. Been dropping a lot of music stuff lately, and that's where my main focus has been. But still, trading NFTs, coins, whatever's gonna pump.
Do you only trade crypto stuff, or do you dabble with like stocks and I don't know what else is tradable out there, but do you do other things or mainly just crypto?
No, I just do crypto. So I've always had over 90% of my money in crypto. Because I got started. I'm 27 right now. I got started when I was like 21, and I'm an ownership maxi. So I know I can actually own and do whatever I want with my crypto stuff, instead, like, unlike stocks. So I only dabble with the cryptos.
That's legit. I don't know a lot about stocks. I mean, honestly, like I mean, I know what stocks are, but like NFTs was kind of the segue that really got me interested in learning how to would you consider it day trading? Is that the term that you would give to what you do? Is that what day trading means? I don't know. or
I
what,
mean,
yeah, just go
yeah,
for
so
it.
I don't consider myself a day trader. I
Okay.
think, I mean, I have a very different style than most people. Like, there's a lot of the degen plays that you see people making in the NFT world. It's not really my thing. I
Hmm.
like to make very, like, high conviction trades that'll play out like over months to like a year possibly.
Okay.
So I don't have to be trading that much. I just make a bunch of big bets, and then I just wait a few months, and then hopefully they hit.
I love that. That's always been like when I think of a day trader, I think of somebody that's just like constantly like checking the charts and making sure that I don't know what they're doing because I don't know how to read charts or anything. But like that's what I think of is just like somebody that's just constantly like consumed with thinking about what's going on in the market and and that doesn't sound fun to me. Like I would want to pursue something more like what you're doing and that's always been like my idea is like just make high conviction plays that I'm like really um excited about, I guess. um and then watch those play out, but I've just never well, I shouldn't say never. I've tried I've tried a few times and they haven't played out as planned. I have too much diamond in my hands. I don't
Yeah.
and I don't think I approach it as like a trader. It was more like just like, oh, I think this project's really cool and it'll probably become even more valuable in the near future. So I'm gonna buy three or four of whatever it is, and then I'll sell, and then I just keep holding on and not ever selling because I'm like, oh, it'll keep
Mhm.
going up, kind of thing. Um, what is like your strategy or a good strategy for trading? I mean, that's a really broad question, but answer it how you want, and then we can just kind of dive into it more.
Yeah. Like for the most part, I would say just know where you want to exit. Like if things do go your way and if things don't go your way. Like so say you buy in at like 1 ETH. Um yeah, I would just say like have those rules in your head ready to go. Like I'll sell if this thing doubles or I will sell if this thing goes down 10%. Cuz then at worst you're going to lose 10%. You already know
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to end with, worst case scenario. And then, if you hit what your goal was, which would be like that 2x, then you just got to act like a robot and just get out.
Yeah, that's the advice that I've heard from multiple people. That when I hear that advice, it's always like, oh, that fucking makes sense. Like,
Right.
don't
But
get it.
it's harder. It's harder. Like it's much easier said than done because like once the thing 2x's and you're sitting at 2 ETH instead of 1, you're like, well,
Uh-huh.
maybe I should raise that. Maybe I should raise that a little bit.
Yeah, because then I'm sure, at least I always go to, well, what if this happens to be something that does a board ape
Mhm.
explosion, and I miss out on way more than than what is possible, which um is why, like, I've always heard and I've tried to do this uh where you would like buy like 3 of something and get your profits, like take your profits to cover your cost of getting into it with one, and then sell the other one at like a healthy gain, and then hold on to that third one either forever if it's like something that you're actually interested in using, or until it does pump to astronomical value, and then
Mhm.
obviously that would be a nice time to cash out as well. Is that something that you do? Is like a strategy similar to that sometimes, or
Yeah,
yeah?
that exact strategy is what I did on my apes. So like I got into Board Ape Yacht Club I think 2 or 3 weeks after the mint started. So the floor price was like point 0.3 at the time,
0.34
and I
is what I
bought
remember seeing when I thought about
yeah.
buying.
Right, and so I bought 3 at the time. I think like that was as high as my risk tolerance would go. I didn't really, when I bought the first one, I didn't expect any type of returns on it. I thought I was gonna lose all my money, and then once I realized there was probably something special here, just from how everybody was interacting with each other and the things I saw, I bought a couple more, and then yeah, just like I was saying, I so I bought at 1 ETH basically, and then I sold my first of the 3 apes at 2 ETH, and then I went up until I was comfortable selling the second one, which ended up being like probably I don't know 12 ETH at the time,
Okay.
and I sold that, which was in retrospect way too early for both of the sales, and then yeah, ended up holding that last ape until like a couple weeks ago. So it was a hell of a journey throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, seriously. What you had mentioned that you sold your last one before we hopped on the show, and I'm curious, what's your thought process around selling now? What was the decision, what made that decision for you, or why?
Yeah, it was a lot of things that went into that one. So like mainly it's just like diversification of my portfolio. Like for me to have a profile picture membership that was I think it was like 60 ETH at the time, which was just way bigger than the rest of my crypto portfolio. It didn't really make much sense, especially because I wasn't using that PFP for any kind of IP reasons. I wasn't even using it as my PFP. It was just sitting there in my wallet.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, if I can cash in on this, get 100K in the bear market, place more bets down, because I think things are going to be flipping bull for like the next year or so. So I'm trying to make money off it.
Yeah.
So I figured, I'd rather start with a lot more money at the beginning of this cycle than I started with at the beginning of last cycle, and then hopefully I can work my way back up there.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I would have sold now or a long time ago, or like there's, but yeah, that really does make
Yeah.
sense.
But there's
And
also like very uncertain economic times, so it's like I wanted to get that money out while I could and have
mhm.
it in less expensive assets, just because, yeah, if things do turn bad, then I doubt there's going to be that many people who are looking to spend, 100K to join the club.
Yeah.
I'd rather just like chill on a couple mutants, still be in the club, like have the exact same benefits basically, but for a way cheaper price.
Yeah, definitely. That's always been my. I mean, I didn't take action on that either because I didn't realize what was going to happen with them as well. But that's always been my thought process. Is like I understand that there's some perks for having the Bored Ape over the mutant, but it doesn't seem like there's much and nothing that I think I would be taking advantage of anyway. So like getting
Mhm.
if I were to get in, it definitely would be through the mutant route, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's mainly just like the airdrops that you get. So like
mhm.
Ape Coin, the apes got more than mutants, and the sewer passes they got a higher ranked sewer pass or like higher tier sewer pass, whatever they called it.
Right, right, right.
But I don't see anything coming in the near future for apes or mutants. So to me, that means they got the same value in my head.
Yeah, and it seems like what are mutants at right now and apes? I haven't looked recently, but it seems
Seems
like
like
they've
about
been separated
13
by too
ETH.
much.
Yeah, it's about 13 ETH for mutants, and then about 60 for apes or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And then I think
that's
this gap's gonna close a lot if
it
we don't see anything new come out.
it has to, right? Like what I don't understand other than they are the golden child, if you will, of the NFT phenomenon. Like everyone is probably always going to know Bored Apes almost more than CryptoPunks just because of what happened during the last bull run, that they just kind of took
Mhm.
over the scene. Obviously I still think CryptoPunks is probably also one that'll last and be high value in the long term.
It's a safe long term bet.
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
like Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. But the price gap between mutants and Bored Apes just does not and has never made sense to me. Like I just don't understand, especially like 13 to 60. Like that
Right.
you could
It,
I would if
there's
I had
no
an
way to
ape if
justify
I
that gap for the
yeah,
same
like
benefit.
if I had even if I had like multiple apes, I feel like I would turn that ape into mutants. Like if I wanted to stay all in
Right.
the Yuga ecosystem, like at least turn it into a bunch of mutants, and then you'll have way more opportunity to take profits along the way than just having that one ape that I guess you could hope would go back up to 70, 80,
Right.
90, 100, whatever,
Yeah, but
in
it's
the
not
bull
like they can
market.
drop ApeCoin again or
Right.
drop. I mean, they can drop new NFTs, but how much do you want to keep diluting the ecosystem?
Yeah, like how long can you do it? That how long can you drop air or do airdrops that are actually going to have immense value compared to like what it's worth? Yeah, that's but that's interesting that that you sold, because I knew you were kind of like transitioning away and you'd switched your PFP over to the what is that? It's a some sort
Our
of
bat ear frogman. Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a.
is
Let's
it
see
what's the collection that it's from?
if I can turn off. If does this show
Yeah,
my
yep,
PFP when I turn off my camera?
yep, you can see it. Yeah,
Okay, sweet. So this PFP is from the Heads collection,
heads. That's
HEDZ.
right.
It's by Matt Fury, and this is the guy who created Pepe, like Pepe the Frog. I think he's gonna go down as one of the like greatest cartoonists of our time. Like he created a meme that has lasted. I mean, he created the greatest meme of all time, basically. And I think there's definitely something special there. It's a collection of 1,000 one of one NFTs that he hand drew. I think it'll age very well, but they're still pretty cheap.
Did okay? So I didn't know that. So all you said 1,000 of them, or how many?
Hmm.
So all a
Yeah,
thousand are hand drawn. It's not like a randomly generated style
right. And
PFP.
like from what I heard, he was working on this stuff back in like at least 2020. So, like before he was even into NFTs or probably even knew what they were. He was. This was just like he's just making these characters just on his own.
Hell yeah, that's cool. What's the price on heads right now? At least the floor. Do you have
I
that?
think it's somewhere in the twos.
I guess I
Let
can
me
be
Open up trusty
doing
old OpenSea.
doing research too. But so
Yeah, 2.56 on OpenSea.
wow. And what enlighten me on the Pepe phenomena that is what it is, because I see it all over the place. Like you said, it's like probably the number one meme. It's definitely the number one meme that I know of, but I don't really know the origin story of it other than, no, I don't even know if I know the actual origin story. I know that there was like something like the Pepe frogs were, just tell me because I'm gonna probably
Yeah.
butcher it anyways.
No, so like I can you see my screen when I share it?
I got to click on it to watch on. It's gonna be. I'll fiddle with it, but yes, kind of.
Okay. I'll explain what I'm sharing here. But basically, there's a documentary called Feels Good Man. It basically just goes through the entire timeline of Pepe from like its inception to where it is today, and it gives you a behind the scenes look of kind of like Matt Fury's life, like the guy who created it, and then all the controversies that Pepe's went through, and then yeah, basically it goes through the whole history, and it does a way better job explaining the whole story than I can. So
Word.
I highly recommend you watching. Feels good, man. I
Feels
think you
good,
can watch
man.
it free. Yeah, online.
Okay.
It's a very very good documentary. It'll take you through all that.
Can
But yeah,
you?
it's basically just a, when Matt Fury created Pepe, he kind of just like let a meme genie out the bottle, and now like he didn't realize what it was gonna be when he made it, and now that it's out there in public, like it's too big to stop, basically.
Right.
So
Especially
it's
since it's
crazy.
like caught on with the NFT culture and everything. It's it's outside of NFT world. Yeah. Like it's just kind of used
Mhm.
universally
Yeah,
as a
it
meme.
started outside NFTs in like a workout forum or something.
Okay.
Like that's where it first started getting memed, and then it got taken over by like the alt right or whatever, and then people tried to save Pepe, and then they brought him into like NFTs, and then yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there. But he's kind of been just like co-opted by the NFT people now of
Mm-hmm.
like their mascot,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
all for that.
No, I love it.
We're
And
using it for good.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I know you've been doing things with it with your music too, right? Like I
Hmm.
feel like I've seen some things. Do you want to maybe, let's segue over there for a second. What have you been doing with producing music and NFTs?
So recently, I've been dropping a lot of different kind of music NFTs. I'm just experimenting right now. I've been producing music longer than I've been in crypto. So I think I was getting the things mixed up earlier. I think I was five and a half years in crypto, about 6.5 years producing music, and I really don't know why it took me this long until I finally dropped some stuff. But yeah, I've just been trying to make a name for myself as a producer, dropping NFTs, doing like Pepe memes, and then putting my music behind them to like kind of set the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then just collabing with different people in the space. I got it's one of my mutants right here. I'm wearing the shirt for. We got Notorious Ape.
Ayo.
Yeah, we're building the IP behind this ape, and he's basically like a collaborative music project that me and this one rapper I know from Dallas, Pat Ron, have been working on. We'll probably get some other vocalists and some other producers in the mix like further down the line, but really just trying to build like a story behind this character and use that to like amplify all these different artists in Web3.
That's legit. I think it feels like music has a very solid lane that it'll fill in the Web3 world. It kind of just like seems like it makes sense to have music as an NFT and along those lines. How what kind of like use cases with Web3 have you seen that really makes sense to you within the music world?
So it's like most of the great stuff about NFTs, about music NFTs, I would say are probably for the artists, like not having to give royalties and a cut of all the stuff that they make to the middlemen platforms like Spotify or Apple Music or whoever's hosting their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, like you get all that. You actually own the stuff that you create. No record labels taking a piece of it. So I mean, I think it's easy to show the value to musicians that way, but at the same time, the collectors need some value too. And I think that's
Right.
really the hard question right now of like what's the balance between like collectors value or like what do collectors want in a music NFT, while still the artist can get what they want. And I think that's why it's taken a little bit longer for the music NFTs to catch on, because it's usually a few people working on one project rather than just like one artist makes art and then sells it, and then it's just that like one to one direct. There's no like splits or anything. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for like the crossover of music NFTs and gaming. Whether like I'm hoping in like Other Side and Sandbox and stuff, if you own my music NFT, maybe you get maybe you get access to a secret album or secret playlist of songs that is kind of unreleased that basically works as like a soundtrack in that game. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. No, I like that you brought that up, because that was one of my thoughts, was that I feel like the metaverse in music definitely makes sense, and I think a really cool use case for like that world would be like an experience that you get access to if you have an NFT or something, or whatever, or it could be free. But like that you can almost like a new form of music videos where you're experiencing the album or whatever through in the metaverse. So maybe you
Mhm.
walk, or maybe there's a platform that moves you, but you go through a scene or whatever, and the music's playing, and whatever happens, like I feel like there could be some really cool use cases for that, and all
I've
kinds
never
of
thought about that.
all
That's
kinds.
that's sick. Like be able to have some people like live in your world in the music video just from like recording what was going on in the space at the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, there could be all kinds of cool options. Um and it would I think it would be really fun, and that could be an awesome way to add some value to the asset, for people that are collecting. I mean, cuz I do I don't know, I haven't like bought like a CD in a long time, or or I don't know if people even buy CDs anymore, but like I haven't bought like I just always go to Spotify. That's always where I go to listen to music. So I guess like why would people all of a sudden start buying an NFT to listen to somebody's music is the question. So maybe that's what you're saying, that there needs to be more value behind it than just getting the NFT that plays the music. There needs to be something else like going along with it.
Right. And like I think art is a big component to that. Like I'm still not 100% sure on like what the perfect formula is. Which is why I'm kind of just like experimenting and trying all these different things. Like I think you could make it work with like trading cards and stuff. But I'm trying to take it the route of working with cool artists and having, you know, like me drop a song that my fans would want to collect, but also there's a visual component to music NFTs, and that's not really my forte, making like visual art. So I'm trying to collab with cool artists in the space, and then have them and their artwork featured as like the album cover. So basically, like catch their attention with the art, and then have them stay for the music.
Mhm.
I think that might be a little bit of the key, but really just to like, I think whoever figures out how to make music fun to collect is gonna really be the big winner here.
Yeah, I like your idea of collaborating with artists and stuff, because I mean, that's a good way to put an artist on and also get people to notice. Like it's a good vice versa kind of situation where both of you win, and especially if one of you is a big name, like
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
like what if you get Beeple to collab with you or some shit like that. Like
exactly.
a lot of people are gonna hear your music because you collabed with him, or
Uh-huh.
if I don't know,
I know. I would love to work with like Grant Yoon or somebody too. That would be like
yeah,
peak making it in my eyes.
that would be dope.
But I think one of the big problems right now is like when it comes to people collecting music NFTs is that they're used to Spotify or maybe iTunes where you only have to pay $7 a month or you have to pay $1 to buy a song instead of like whatever people ask for music NFT prices. Like if I give out a free NFT, people still got to pay like $5 in gas fees, and it's more than they're used to paying for just one song. Which is why I think like having a collectible, is really the key here. But yeah, like for the most part, most of my music I've been dropping is all free, just because you got to do that, and eventually I'll probably make it paid. But for now, I feel like the smart move is just give it away to the people who want it. Just do like 1 day drops and then see where it
Yeah,
goes.
I like that. I also miss it all the time, which pisses me off. But
Hey, this
but
Friday, this
yeah.
Friday we got it next one.
Oh, Friday. Put
Yes,
that
sir.
setting an alarm for that one. Um, that's I think I saw you tweet about that. That's National Pepe
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah, and I will say I do like either I do about every other Friday. I'll do a drop. So if you
Good,
guys out there want any music,
good.
follow me. Just set the notifications on Fridays, and there's a good chance to get some free music.
Yeah, and go follow him over on Twitter. That's probably the best place to follow you. Yeah,
Yeah, at paper_ape.
paper_ape. I'll have the links below in the recording if you guys are catching the recording. If you're catching it live, sorry. Oh, where'd you go? I think we may have lost you. Let me see. We did for a second, but you're back. I think.
Did I rug?
Yeah, you rugged, but you're back. Uh, you,
Okay, my bad.
you're looking good. You're
At
looking good
least it
now.
says I'm giving out all the socials and shit.
Well, I just kept going and telling them where to find it. So, links in the description if you're catching the replay. If you're not catching the replay, I'm gonna try and drop it in the chat for you guys here in one sec. Um, but okay, so what I know of your music is that it was on Tezos. Are you still doing it on Tezos, or have you transitioned
Oh yeah.
to
Yeah, I
what?
remember you collected right now my first one of one ever on Tezos. I haven't dropped anything on Tezos for the past few months. Tezos to me is kind of like that's where I'll drop my more experimental music.
Okay.
Um, it's that was where I was getting my start dropping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like the reason I didn't part of the reason why I didn't drop any music for the length of time that I've been in crypto is because it costs a lot more money to drop stuff on Ethereum. So I really just wanted to like kind of test out a few different things, find what my style would be like for NFTs on Tezos because it's costing fractions of a penny to upload an NFT on there.
Right.
So did that, dropped a few things on there, and then really just been focused on ETH since then. But definitely don't forget about Tezos. I'm still collecting stuff on there.
Are you?
I just haven't been dropping anything, but eventually I will be back.
Yeah. What what do you like collecting over there? It seems like I mean I haven't spent very much time over there, but there's when I have like checked out some of the marketplaces, like there's some really cool like art that I'll just like be scrolling through and be like, ooh, that's really cool. I would put that up in my metaverse house or whatever, or in real
Mhm.
life even. My head always goes to metaverse because that's where I love. But what kind of things have you been paying attention to over on Tez?
If I share my screen, will it pop up on the thing?
Yes, it should again.
Okay,
I think
cool.
do
Let
it.
me. It's easier if I can just share it instead of say it. But there's this really cool artist I found. Like, I'm shouting her out because I think her social media game is weak as fuck. She needs to step it up. But the art is fire. Like Elna Frederick is making some super cool stuff. There's really not much on the internet about her, but she makes this like glitch art that it looks like the stuff is just moving while you're just viewing it from and it doesn't, it's just
But
flashing.
it's
It
not
looks like
moving, it's just flashing.
yeah, so like her stuff, every time she drops something and I'm like aware of it, I'm collecting it. There's been some like I don't know, there's it's like other well-known artists have dropped some stuff on Tezos, like Rare Skrilla, he's another music producer. Killer Acid, tip like all these
I love Killer.
bigger name artists who've dropped stuff on Tezos. Usually you can find it cheaper on Tezos. So if you want to collect from some of your favorite artists for a lot cheaper price, I highly recommend checking out what they've dropped on Tezos because typically you're gonna be able to buy their stuff for a discount.
That's interesting and a good thing that I wouldn't have thought about because, like, for instance, I love Killer Acid, but I just can't afford to buy
Yeah,
a lot of his stuff. But I mean, I don't know what it is on Tezos too, but that's a good place to go look if you find somebody
absolutely.
that you're into. Go see if they have a Tezos account and see what you can find over there. Because who knows, maybe
Hmm.
there'll be something over there that you like even more, and it'll be cheaper. Um,
Definitely.
so that's
Like
cool.
I liked Killer Acid even before he was even in the NFT game. Like if I could move my camera, I would show you. I got like two things by Killer Acid on my wall right now.
Yeah,
Um, but and then he had been dropping stuff on ETH for a little bit. But the first thing I ever collected from him was on Tezos, and then a couple weeks ago he dropped something on ETH, so I finally got my first ETH piece by him. But
okay,
yeah, usually like my first entry to artists I really like that I like really want to collect something for cheap usually is Tezos.
makes sense. How did you find Killer Acid? Because I've only found him since NFT World. I obviously know he's been around for a lot longer than that. But what was your exposure to him before that? How did you find him?
That's yeah, that's a really hard question. I actually don't know how I found him,
Yeah,
but a quick story I do have is that when I bought some of this artwork from him, I actually emailed him back in the day to see if I could buy it in ETH,
no shit.
and he had no idea what it was back then.
That's
He was
funny.
down, but like we couldn't find a way to like do the transaction because this was probably like 2018 or something,
Uh huh.
2019 maybe. It was just like so many ETH was just so primitive back then that it was just such a hassle for us to do the transaction like that. Where I was like, "Hey, I appreciate you, like hearing me out for this, but I will just pay in dollars,"
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And that was the end of it. But I probably got the email somewhere in the depth of my email account.
Dude, I was gonna say you should go scrounge those up
That's some
and
historic shit.
hit him up and like just show him and be like, dude, remember when you had no idea what Ethereum was and now look
Yeah,
at you. That's crazy. I wonder if he would. He probably would because he obviously
I
didn't know
feel like
about
you
it,
would
so
probably
he would
remember
probably
now. Yeah.
remember. And who knows? Maybe that was the thing that got his thought process kind of started and sparked it and
If
now
I
look
could
at.
take credit for that, I will.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna give you credit for it. That's how it all played out in my head. You inspired Killer Acid to drop art on ETH.
Oh yeah. You got a clickbait title right there.
Yes, there we go. I don't even have to think about it. It's already baked in. Dope. Um, where was I? I wanted to circle back to some. Oh, I wanted to circle back. We're all over the place because that's how this podcast goes.
It's all
Because that's
good.
how my brain works. But I wanted to dive more into you as a crypto trader. How did that begin? Like, what got you started in wanting to trade crypto, and then like how did you learn to to do it?
Yeah. Great question. So what got me started in crypto? Like I said earlier, I was 21. I was a broke college student. I had man, probably less than $100 in my name at the time.
I feel that.
I put like $50 into Ethereum summer of 2017, Just when I discovered, I was just trying to make quick money, like as easy as I could with no effort. And yeah, quickly I learned crypto is it's a hard game to play. I sold my ETH like a couple weeks later. It was down, I don't know how many percent, but I don't know. I probably recouped like 40 of the $50 from it. And then a few months later, at the very end of 2017, I see this giant run up in price, and crypto obviously got back on my radar right then. But it kind of made me think like, wow, I would have had this much money if I would have just kept it in here. Like at least, I didn't stick with the vision back then, but all these people have bought it up to this price point, so they must see something worth buying it right here. So there at least must be something there.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought in at the top of 2017, like the very end of that cycle, and then just this time I stuck it out. This time I rode like the next 3 years of a bear market, just putting like every single dollar that I made basically into crypto. I was like doing Uber Eats just to,
Hell yeah.
I may be making maybe like $3 or $4 a trip, put it all in a shit coin that I was like very confident in. But yeah, I mean, like I was just trying to make money I was trying to make easy money.
Yeah.
What I thought was that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all just came from the foundation of me just believing in just the blockchain and Bitcoin as just, it's a great piece of technology. And I feel like everybody eventually is going to wake up to that.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely, and I'm sure most people that are listening to this podcast probably have the same sentiment around crypto and blockchain technology, that it is something that will catch on eventually with the masses. What has been your path to like figuring out your approach to trading?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, I forgot to answer the trading part of
that's
the
fine.
question. My bad.
You're good.
Yeah. So for me, this just goes back to that like those 3 years that I spent in that bear market. It was very boring, but I realized that I bought at the very top of the market, and I was adding all this money in at the prices steadily declining, dollar cost averaging into the lower prices, and basically I built up like a solid portfolio just of the money I was making at the time. But I realized that I need to know when to sell. So I started reading books on just like the market, just like the fundamentals, like the psychology of markets.
Yeah.
But like the really big turning point for me was learning how to trade off candlesticks, because it helps you get a read on like what people are feeling like emotionally about the market, and like how it's so crazy how this stuff works. I thought all technical analysis was bullshit until I started really learning how to do it, and then it works so well if you can just throw your emotions out of it and just use logic. So I basically just use candlesticks to tell me to just find trend reversals, and on a long-term time frame, like if I'm trading from like if it's like a 4-year cycle, I'll be looking very hard at like monthly candlesticks and whatever longer time frame I can, and if I get one of those reversals, I'll just sell like everything, and won't catch the exact top, but you'll catch it high enough to where you can just wait until it gets way lower and then just buy a lot of stuff back in. So yeah, that's why I like dealing with the long-term time frames, and not trying to catch the exact top, but just trying to get out when it's probably when I actually know that it's probably topped out and that there's probably a lot more to go.
Yeah. Okay, I have a few things to unpack with that. First, you mentioned that you started reading some books. Do you recall any of the books that you did read, so that we can drop that for people that are listening, and also so that I can go read them, because I'm very interested in learning. So
for sure.
Yeah, what were those books?
So first book is Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. I think it's by Jesse Livermore, something like that. Let me see if I can. Reminiscences. Sorry, I'm googling this.
You're good. I'm trying to spell.
Okay,
I'm trying to figure out how to
Reminiscences of a
spell it.
Stock Operator by Edwin Lefevre, something like that. Basically, just it gives you a. It's a book written by this guy in like the early 1900s, but it's crazy because if you read it back then, like people's emotions work the exact same way in the early 1900s as they do in the early 2000s. Like people never change. So,
Hmm.
he's telling his stories from back in the day, and then I can immediately relate it to what's going on in my life, whatever cycle of the market we're in.
Do you think that NFTs follow the same trends, or are they different
Yeah,
for the most part?
it's a little bit different, but like for the most part, it's all the same. Like I
Yeah.
know I could use any of the stuff that I'm telling you that I read in these books. Like, I mean these books were made for like regular stocks, but they work in crypto. So I
Hmm.
know like if I started trading regular stocks, it would work the exact same.
Sure.
So like reminiscences of a stock operator is number one. Um, the one I recommend the most is called Candlestick Course. It's basically like a textbook almost, but it's called Candlestick Course by Steve Nissen. It basically just teaches you how to read candlesticks and the candlesticks on charts. And I read a chapter a day for less than 2 weeks, and that's all it takes to finish the book. It's got like a little
Okay.
work like it's got questions and answers basically at the
Uh-huh.
end of each chapter. So just like do one chapter a day, answer the questions, look at the charts, make sure you understand what it just told you for 2 weeks. And then by the end of those 2 weeks, you'll be leveled up so much as a trader. It was honestly mind blowing to me how quickly it leveled up me as a trader.
Yeah. That's what
I can't recommend that any higher.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. That sounds like a great one. I see people post things about candlesticks and things like that on Twitter all the time, and I don't know the terms that they're using because none of it makes sense in my head. But I've always been curious about like what what is going on and when people are
Yeah.
talking about like the candlestick charts and stuff. So
Right.
I'm
Like there's
definitely
some patterns, like some people trade off patterns, and I haven't learned those yet, so I think a lot of that is bullshit. But I also thought like the candlestick stuff was bullshit before I learned it.
uh-huh.
And it's like once you know the why behind how it works, then like all the dots start clicking.
Sure.
And basically like so say you read that first book that I mentioned, that'll teach you market psychology, and then you learn candlesticks. If whenever you're able to combine both of those, or just combine all these different pieces of trading tools, it'll just increase your chances of having a trade that hits, basically.
Makes sense. Like it's that's very logical. And why wouldn't that work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other books that you would want to
There's
recommend?
one more.
Okay.
Let me. I gotta look at the book's name, but there's like three core ones that really helped me, and this is the last one. So
Hey,
give
well,
me.
this is good proof in the pudding that you actually have the book in your bedroom or wherever you are. So
Yeah. Yes. Proof of Books.
proof of books.
Market Wizards
Market Wizards.
by Jack D. Schwager.
Schwager. I
Uh,
like the name.
Swagger. Yes. um, he basically just interviews all the top traders of, I mean, I guess just that are alive during his time, and just asks their strategies, interviews them, asks everything he can to just figure out their trading styles.
Hmm.
It's super long book, so I recommend just picking out whatever is relevant to like whatever you want to learn.
Sure. Because
But
yeah, that's a
eventually you'll
thick
get through
boy.
all the chapters. But like the insights you can get from that thing are so crazy because like that book is it's like as thick as the Bible, but all these different people they interview or that get interviewed in the book, every single one of them has a different trading style. It's crazy, but whatever style they have works, and it really just teaches you to like figure out a style that works for you and stick with it. But
Right.
there's also so many different insights that you can get from that. that can help you get to that point.
Yeah.
That they work wonders.
And I mean, that's what you were kind of just saying is you learn candlesticks, and that you know that there's what did you say, like watching trends or something. uh I'm probably butchering it, but
The reversals. That's what I look for.
yeah. And then but then there's another one where you can, like, how you map like where it's going and where it's going to be or something. I don't know, there's all kinds of them.
Mhm.
But yeah, like
Yeah,
as long
those
as you
are more of the
learn one,
stuff that I'm
you
still
should
trying
be
to add.
set,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Like one will give you the foundations that you need, which probably goes to like I think fundamental analysis should probably be the foundation, and then just add technical stuff as much as you can on top of that.
What is fundamental analysis?
Uh, just make sure that like whatever you're investing in, it's I don't know. I guess it's different for a lot of things. So like for me, fundamental analysis in crypto markets, you want to make sure that things are fitting in with the current narrative. Definitely something that's profitable, something that actually has some utility to it. Unless it's art, I, that works a little bit different. Um, but yeah, it's just things like I don't like to invest in bear markets, so I try to just be completely hands off. So you haven't seen me tweet about crypto stuff in a while,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But whenever it flips bull, then I'm balls to the wall, just trying to figure out everything that's, like for this next market, I'm gonna be looking at gaming stuff primarily.
I feel like
That's where
that's
my
where we're
bets are.
going, right? Yeah, that's where you're feeling too.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't like too. It did suck selling the ape because it's hard to let that thing go, but at the same time, I don't think PFPs are gonna have the same kind of returns that they did in the next market as they did in the previous one. I think
I feel
I
that.
don't know. I'm putting my eggs in the gaming basket for this one.
Yeah. What I'm gonna pause, or I'm gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna come back to it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Gotta write it down though, so don't forget, because my brain. Um, before we move on to that I just put a pin in. Staying on the trading topic, how would you recommend somebody new to the game, like myself, start? Like, obviously you gave me 3 great book recommendations, which I would probably, after this episode, go order off of Amazon. And then from there,
Let's go.
like what like what
I need to go referral.
I was gonna
link
say, you
going.
got an affiliate link or whatever. But then after, if you want to go make one, yeah, I'll link that in the description instead of just the generic Amazon. But what like where does somebody start after they start learning? Like, how, I guess my question, I mean, that's the general question, but like my head always goes to, like, how do you know when you're ready to start actually trading? Like, is there ways to
Yeah,
practice it, or do you just have to
yeah,
kind of
no.
just go for it and and expect that
Yeah.
you're going to probably lose along the way here and there? Or what's your advice around that?
So the way that you're gonna learn in trading is by losing. It's simply put, that's how it is. And like the bigger bets you take and the bigger losses you take on those bets, they're gonna stick with you for a long time. So it comes down to making those losses, evaluating what you did wrong, and like you got to be accountable for your own actions. You can't be like blaming founders for anything. You can't be blaming like the market, people who are flooring their NFTs, if that's what it is. Like, you got to take all that on yourself and figure out what you did wrong. But yeah, it's just like having some skin in the game, because you're not going to care about it as much, at least enough to like learn and really take that emotional hit,
Hmm.
and unless you actually have some money behind some of the stuff. So like, yeah, I say if you're looking to get into crypto or just trading in general, just put some money in, see what happens. Don't invest more than you're willing to lose, because that's the hardest thing about trading. Like anybody can get good at it, but you have to be willing to go through the fire and like
Hmm.
rise like a phoenix at the end.
Yeah.
But like you're gonna get burnt before you can make the big wins.
Uh-huh.
And even if you hit like if you get lucky in the first part, you're gonna lose it. And then
Eventually, it's
it's gonna
gonna
catch
find you,
up.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
No, yeah, that.
Because like the biggest thing I've learned is just I think when you start trading, you look for those home runs. I like to put in baseball terms, but you really just got to hit singles and just be consistent at getting on base. And then maybe you're getting these hits. Maybe you accidentally hit a home run, and that's great because then it sets you up for a while. But just as long as you're not striking out every single time you go up to plate, that's the key.
Yeah, that's a when I don't know what you said that triggered this in my head, but um, I think this previous bull market, because I started paying attention to NFTs. For those of you that don't know my story, in I don't know what time it would have been, but like basically it was probably like a month or two before Bored Apes happened, or before Bored Apes dropped. Um, I think the main thing that pulled me in was I was a big fan of Gary Vee. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I just for a while I thought he was the worst thing that ever happened um, as an entrepreneur, and then he grew on me, and I started to realize that maybe he isn't talking a bunch of bullshit, and some of the stuff that he's saying over and over again actually does make sense if you actually apply it. There's still parts of him that rub people the wrong way, but anyways, but he started talking about something that he was going to be doing, which was the VeeFriends, and I had already kind of heard of NFTs, and it clicked with me, and I was like, okay, he's paying attention to it. Maybe I should pay more attention to it. And then eventually he announced that he for sure was doing NFTs, and like, okay, he's definitely paying attention to it. I'm gonna keep paying attention. And I at that time, like, I didn't have like a bunch of extra money, so I didn't end up buying any of his things, which sucks, but whatever. Um, and and but I was also a part of the Punks Comic Discord, if you remember them
Hmm.
at that time before they turned it. Well, I think they were always Pixel Vault, but all the roller coaster of all of that. Um, but that was the first NFT I bought, was a Punks comic #1, and then I bought two more. I kind of FOMO'd in
Hmm.
last minute whenever, because I bought before they didn't sell out for a long time, like at least a couple months. So I bought one early just because I was in the community, and I was like, oh, these guys are awesome. Like they're helping me learn. They helped me figure out how to fucking not get hacked and all this stuff. That's where I met Tropo, Tropo Farmer.
Oh yeah.
Me and him were like figuring shit out along the way, and then he took off and went his own direction. Um,
Yeah,
but
making a big. I think
yeah,
he made that NFT 100 list or
yeah,
something.
I saw he made it again, two or maybe 3 years in a row. Shout out Tropo. Um,
List.
he still needs to get on the show.
That's cool, bro.
He's planning on coming on one of these days. That'll be a fun one. Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, other than that was when I started, and I learned a lot. Just and one of the biggest things that I think I learned last cycle is that you need to take profits and and be willing to sell things so that you have money to buy other things that then you can go and sell. Like if you're
Mhm.
if you're in the trading mentality, which I was trying to be a trader, but I was also holding on to things for way too long, and then I couldn't buy the other thing, that because there was so many times where I was like, ooh, I wish I could buy that, but I need to sell this first, and it's like, oh, I
Yeah,
don't want to
they
sell
they
that.
say the third cycle's the charm. Like the first cycle you just got to go through, take the losses. So then like second cycle, what you fucked up the first time.
Uh-huh.
You can do that right the second time. And then like I'm about to go on my third cycle. So like yeah, I took profits this last one, so I can definitely attest to that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
once you know that you need to take profits, then you'll do it the second time. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
definitely. I think I've learned my lesson on that for sure. Um, I'm so you mentioned early in the show that you feel like we may be entering into another bull cycle. Um, why do you feel that way?
So this actually goes back to something that I learned from reading that first book, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. I mean, there's a few different reasons, but I think the main thing is like if I look back at the past few months, um, the people who have been trading these past few months, everybody's making money.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't happening the whole year before that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like in a bear market, you're gonna be able to look around at pretty much anybody, and they're gonna be making money. In a bear market, you're gonna be looking around, and everyone's losing money.
Right.
So it could either be a relief pump, or which is it's totally possible, or a bear market. I mean, it could be a relief pump it or the beginning of a bull market, but I don't know. I'm just looking at like Bitcoin cycles, how they got the normal 4-year cycle, and everything is really just looking like it's the beginning of a new one. Um, I don't know how. Usually, each 4-year cycle is a bit different than the previous one, but to me, it just feels like a lot of these things are aligning. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a pullback. I don't know. Personally, on my own trading, I'll put the numbers out there. I think Bitcoin will hit like 32 or 33K and then pull back. Um, but ultimately, I think we've already kind of reversed. Like it's bottomed out, and I'm aiming to like really exit the crypto markets again, like Q2 of next year,
Okay.
sometime in that realm. So for me, I just look at like we're here right now. In a year, I think we'll be somewhere up here. So I will buy somewhere down here, and I will sell somewhere up here.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I try to look at it in my head. Because like I'm no wizard with the stuff. I stay in touch with the market just so I know what's going on. Um, I definitely don't optimize my trading at all, but I bet big when it's low, and I just try to sell whenever it's higher than that.
That makes sense. And I mean, that's still a place that I'm trying to get where I can start betting big whenever it's low. Hopefully I don't miss this one. Um, but actually, let's take a question that I saw pop up in the chat. So Bert Z says, if you go to cues from the viewers, how is the crypto market different from the traditional share/stock market? In general, they are both seeking public/others money to invest in company/business/venture. Did you catch that? You're frozen, by the way. Maybe toggle your video
Am
off and on.
I good now?
No, which is, I can hear you. I just can't. Your video is not working, but that's fine. Just go. Oh, now you got rugged. And now you're back. But your video is not back. Can you hear me? Maybe. I shouldn't have told you. We should have just let you be frozen on the screen. Um It's thinking. I'm not frozen. I'm just staring at the screen. I'm going to read the question again. I don't know if you can hear paper, but how is the crypto market different from the traditional share/stock market? In general, they are both seeking public/others money to invest in company, business, venture. That's a good question. I am not the one to answer that. But we'll get him back in here in a second. You there, paper? I can see your emoji, not your emoji, your PFP. I cannot hear you though. And you can just keep your video off if you can hear me saying that, and just try and get your audio going. See you, I don't hear you.
Am I back?
I got your volume, which is all we really need. Don't worry about your video.
Okay, cool.
That's
Sorry, I think my internet's rugging me. I don't know what's going on here.
It's all good. Your audio's coming through crystal clear, so that's perfect. But you,
Okay.
oh, there you are. Now you're all back.
We back.
Perfect. Did you catch that question?
I did. Honestly, I don't really know how to answer that because I don't do that much stuff in the stock market.
Sure. That's
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, I forgot like all the details of the question. Um, yeah, but I don't know. To me, it's a completely different game, and I think I got burnt a little bit last cycle trying to play it like it was the stock market on some of these companies that didn't really understand the difference between Web 3 and Web 2. Like, I made some huge bets on CloneX during last cycle, and
mm,
I got absolutely obliterated by them
rude.
because they looked at their collectors as consumers rather than collectors, and yeah, that did not age well for me. And I think that's one of the big differences that Yuga Labs has compared to a lot of these other communities is that they really try to put the collector first.
Hmm.
And yeah, I can't remember all the details of that question, but I think it was along the lines of VCs and stuff. I don't fuck with VCs, so this is like Yuga is the one exception I will make for Web3.
Word.
But yeah, most of the stuff is not. They don't get it yet.
Gotcha. I mean, that makes sense to me. I read the question and it doesn't really make make a whole lot of sense to me because I have no idea. But yeah, like you said, if you don't really dabble either, um, he he says, just to reference, for me, one is selling in the real world products. Crypto is electronic and more focused on the services, uh, service provious, maybe service provided, and gaming.
Mhm.
Just my experience slash view. Um,
Yeah, it is different because like in crypto, you're buying a membership. So it's like, what does that membership actually give you? And I don't think a lot of NFT projects do a really good job of explaining that. In the apes, it's easy. Like for me, you get at least like the tangible stuff. You can go to Ape Fest every year for free.
mhm.
Like last year, I got to see Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Lil Baby,
Nuts.
Future, all for free. And like when you get there, free drinks, free food. It's absolutely insane. So like to me, that's where some of the value comes. Um, you know, just it's just built in right there. But you never know what you're going to get every single year, so that's something that you have to evaluate during however long you want to hold the thing. Because like is it worth this much to me? Like, would I rather have 60 ETH or would I rather go to that this year or something like that?
Right.
But yeah,
I'd
like a
take
lot of
60th.
the different NFT collections, they have a harder time answering that question.
Yeah, I feel that. And I don't know why that is, because it seems like there's, I mean, the Bored Apes have done a good job of even just like setting the standard and showing how to do it. And it seems like a lot of people try and follow that but don't execute on it. And I
Hmm.
don't know why that is.
Yeah,
Other than the
that's
Bored
the
Apes
big
are
thing.
making a lot of money off of royalties versus the other ones, so maybe they can just afford to do different things that no one else can do. I don't know.
Well, I realized a lot of the mistakes I was making last cycle was betting on people who were trying to copy the apes and then were just executing horribly comparatively,
Hmm.
which is I'm going back to Clone X. I mean, you could say the same thing for like Doodles or Moonbirds or any of those other collections. I didn't bet on any of those, but the people who did also lost a lot of money.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of just finally brought me all back to the original source, which is Yuga Labs.
Yeah, and I mean,
I hate to sound like a Yuga Max. I
I
hate being a Max of anything as a
yeah,
trader.
well,
Yeah,
that was my
that's
thought
where
process
my
is
current
that
mind. But
I've been burned, and I keep saying it every time. They're not burned, but I tend to fade new things that Yuga does, and
right, same here.
they
Same here.
continue to prove me wrong over and over and over again. And I wonder if that's just going to continue or if it's going to slowly slow down. Which I think it probably will slow down, you would think, but at the same time, you could probably still bet on pretty healthy gains for a while. from things that they do. One thing that they're doing that I'm interested in, and I know a lot of the viewers are probably curious about it too, because we got a lot of sandbox peeps in here. But is the other side, and I know you had mentioned before we hopped on that you've been doing a lot of research on it recently. Um, what what about other side has you so bullish? Because it sounded like you were bullish on it.
Yeah, like full disclosure, I'm gonna be pumping my bags here, but like it's obviously like I put my money where my mouth is. I genuinely believe that this stuff is gonna be uh I think it'll be a good bet to take, not financial advice, but it's what I'm doing.
Hmm.
But yeah, for the other side, I think it'll just be a good platform. Not just gaming, but just a social thing for people to do. Like almost like I feel like what Yuga is going for is like Twitter mixed with like World of Warcraft or something, where
Mm,
like you have these experiences in a game like setting, but it might not have to be specifically game related. Like it could be anything in there, which is still pretty abstract thought. So I don't know how to describe it any better than that. But I really just look at other side as the platform, and then I think they'll get people interested from collections outside of the Yuga ecosystem through 10KTF. I
I
think
was just gonna bring that
10KTF
up.
is
Thank
the
you.
big sleeper in all of this.
Hmm. What do you can you summarize NKTF for people, or at least just real
Yeah,
quick?
so 10KTF is a project created by We New Labs. Um, the founders were like Beeple, Michael Figge, Guy Osiri, who's like the manager of Madonna, and like all these huge, big name, crazy people. Like this guy's got connections everywhere. Figgy seems like the brains behind it, a lot of it, and then people obviously killing the art.
Yeah.
Um, they were acquired by Yuga Labs, I don't know, a few months ago. But basically, Yuga is trying to tie in everything that 10KTF has done to the other side, and just, I mean, I guess I should probably explain that first. So 10KTF has just been they drop. It's been one of the most engaging stories of crypto, I would say,
I
or like
agree.
NFTs.
Yeah.
They drop new pieces of their lore, their story every single Thursday at the exact same time. It's kind of like tuning into a TV show. Like you're gonna get a new episode on Thursday at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or
Hmm.
whatever it is. And they just drop some more info. So they have a very consistent way of keeping that attention going from their whole fan base, and it's different than all these other PFP projects because um, it's not just like one PFP project that's just trying to boost itself up. It's a story that's including apes, cool cats. I don't know why I'm blanking on literally everything else, but like they're including all the different big name communities in crypto all into this one storyline. So they all have a say in this thing basically, and they all are included. And so that's going to be placed on top of the other side. So now you're going to be bringing in all these different communities to do something in this world that's built for everybody. And I think that's the big catalyst there for just getting people into this world and having it be useful for all these people instead of just Yuga assets by themselves.
Right. I think that's probably the most important part is that it can't always just be.
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to gatekeep,
Yeah.
like just keep other people out and just like
Right.
have it be us. Like we all gotta win together. It's Web3.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, for the other side, I wasn't able to play. Couldn't find somebody. I didn't even think to ask you. Um, or I didn't try very hard. I think I was gonna be out of town anyways, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna be
It
able
was
to do it.
for
But
Duke's dad.
for the second trip, um,
Oh
and
yeah, I didn't even get to play that.
no, but
Yeah, no, I had a Coda and I sold it like the week before that happened, and then I got left out because I didn't buy one.
uh,
Now I got one, so I'm ready for third trip.
there you go. But it looked I mean, it looked chaotic, but it also was impressive, in my opinion. Just the amount of people that it could support was crazy. And like the thing that has always like caught my attention, and I don't play very many games, so I don't know the capabilities of voice chat in some games, but the way that their voice chat works seems really cool. And I haven't seen it in any other games that I play. So like I said, it could be out there, like voice chat similar to that in other games. But um, needless to say, I think that's one thing that is going to push them into the onto people's radar as a place to do social events, social gatherings, because it really it seemed like, just from watching a couple of different streamers, that you could be I was just thinking of like other use cases other than the chaotic game that they were playing. Like
Mhm.
you could go to a concert in the metaverse,
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to do.
and yeah, hell yeah, and talk to the people right next to you, and but like people, it's not like talking everywhere, it's just like a localized um broadcast of your microphone. And I think that's super cool, because like that'll I think that'll lead to it feeling more like the real world, and
Yeah. Like
more
I want, as soon
engaging.
as you step into my land, you're hearing some music playing off some kind of speaker or something somewhere.
Uh-huh.
It gets
Most
louder as you walk up to it.
right. Yeah. No, that and are you do you have um what do you need to build in there? Like deeds? Is that
I really don't know. I think it's just a deed.
yeah.
There's not really, as far as I know. I think you probably do a lot of the building in Unity, 'cause I think that's what it runs on. But I don't know how all that stuff works.
Okay,
But
yeah. I know
yeah,
like when
I
it
wish I
first
did.
yeah, me too. When it first came out, I was really interested in it, and like I signed up to get notified of like when the SDK drops and stuff, and I still haven't heard anything about that, and I haven't really heard very many people talking about the SDK being out, so I don't think they've put anything out yet for like the public. But it'll be interesting to see what people start building once they can. Speaking of building stuff and gaming, have you seen what people have been doing with the new Fortnite creative? Because that's wild to me. I feel like
Mm.
Fortnite is somebody that is also like a force to be reckoned with whenever they decide to flip the switch and come over to Web3. Because
I have not. I have not. My brother visited this past weekend. He just told me he's back on the Fortnite grind. It's been
yeah,
a minute. Like it's been years since I played my last Fortnite game, but it seems like it's still going strong. What's new with them?
so the I think they call it Creative, and Creative 2 is the new release of it. But you can basically, like, you're familiar with the sandbox, so I'll use it in those terms. It's very similar to building in the sandbox, where you can build whatever you want, and you can place assets, and I'm pretty sure you can build your own assets
Can I
for it.
create my own 50 towers?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So so
That's how
like
long since I played. I know doesn't exist anymore.
but but yeah, so like that's like I've seen people build so instead of playing Fortnite, now people are building these games that people can go and log into and play. I've seen people like recreate GTA, or recreate like what else have I seen, like Modern Warfare maps, and they're also getting um whatever the is it in not NDA, um whatever, somebody's reaching out to him and saying stop that. That's ours, and
Oh yeah,
you're copying it.
I
So
think like
so
DMCA.
yeah, I think that's what it is, DMCA. um but so don't just copy somebody's map, people that are listening.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can basically create whatever you want, and then people can play it through the Fortnite game, which is super cool. And I actually just saw somebody, I'm blanking on the name, I could probably find it, um, is creating the other side in that map, or in that creative, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah, that'll be a tough one.
Yeah, so and who knows, because I'm pretty sure the people that are working on other side, Improbable, I think is the name. Yeah, does that sound
Mhm.
right? Uh,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
he
sure
does.
they also have something to do with Fortnite. So who knows? Like maybe down the road it's all going to come together and they're all going to be part of the same thing, or who knows. But this is all speculation. But I am interested to see what ends up happening with Fortnite, because I feel like it's inevitable for almost any game to eventually transition over to Web3 and blockchain technology. It's just when, like, maybe people will be able to drag their feet for 10, 20 years, or maybe it'll be
Yeah,
faster than
we'll,
that.
we'll see if they want to give up any cut of their pie because they're making so much on those skins now, and seems like their players do not give a fuck about having those skins be used across different games.
Right.
I think I could see Fortnite milking that as long as they can,
Definitely.
but
I
yeah,
mean,
I do hope they move into Web3
yeah.
and see. I hope they see the light.
I do too, because that initially was the thing that clicked in my head, when I first like started learning about NFTs and everything, is how it just made sense that it could be used in the gaming world. So, and I have to imagine, like you said, they're making a lot of money right now, so they don't care. But I also have to imagine that they also understand and see it and are like, oh yeah, like that's definitely the direction things are going, and they're probably
Yeah,
working on it in the background. I mean, all the big gaming companies have
I
a Web
think
three
I've seen
like.
Epic Games be making some kind of investments into some Web3 stuff. So I think they're definitely keeping an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you're right in assuming that they'll just milk it for as long as they can before it makes sense to switch over, because they have a good thing going right now. And
Yeah,
and
yeah. Like if I was in their position, I don't see why they would be the first people to do that. But
right.
I could see them like after a couple successes happen, then they move over, and then
And
they're probably
then
successful
yeah, and
once they do
then
make
then they
it.
say, "Oh, look what we just did." Uh
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they airdrop everybody who's bought a skin, like their crypto version of that skin. Who knows?
yeah, I mean,
You could
that's
be buying NFTs and you don't even know
I
it.
was I was going to say
I don't
that,
know if
like,
it works like that.
ideally that's what would
Yeah.
happen in my opinion. That would make the most sense if you were wanting to position yourself as caring about your customers.
I mean, that would
um
create so much value just like that.
yeah, totally, because now, like, the only and I mean, they could also just this is the thing that I always come back to when I go down this rabbit hole, is they could also just actually make it easy for people to go onto a marketplace that they control and sell the skins that they have, because right now the only way to basically sell them is to sell your entire account, which I think is just silly. But and I still don't. It doesn't make any sense to me why they don't have a marketplace. Like, other than they don't want other people to be making money, they just want to make all the money. I don't know. Oh,
Right. It makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I don't know.
The Web
There's
two mindset.
there's probably reasons that are above my pay grade that they haven't done that yet. But um, but it will be interesting whenever the big dogs like them enter the world of Web3, because it has to be inevitable, right? There's no way to avoid it eventually, unless for some reason everything goes to shit. Um,
Right.
but hopefully not. Why? Okay, I think this is the thing that I put a pin in it. Why do you think that gaming is going to be at the forefront of the next bull cycle? I think is how you were kind of looking at it.
Uh, man, yeah. For me, it's just one of the most obvious use cases for NFTs. Um, Having some kind of game asset, especially with the composability of it all. Like say you own a Fortnite skin, but you want to use it when you're playing CS:GO or something.
Hmm.
And just like the ability to do that, it should be so easy. Gaming's not really there yet but I feel like the first big game that's going to break through is probably going to be the other side, and there's probably going to be some other things that come along the way also throughout the next cycle. But yeah, like to me, it's the easiest way to onboard a bunch of new people into NFTs and then have them recognize the value that's there. Because like you're not getting any value out of your Fortnite skin that you can't resell or you can't use in other games. But I think once this thing clicks with them, they're gonna that switch is gonna flip and they're gonna see the value there, and it's really just gonna onboard the next wave of people into NFTs. Because like yeah, the PFP people have already seen it, but it's not like there's not that much value out of PFPs in my opinion.
Right.
Besides just like finding like-minded like tribe basically. But yeah, gaming it really just makes the most sense in my eyes. This is coming from somebody like I've played games my whole life, and I don't think that many people that are older than me can see that. But like this whole next wave of people that's coming up, and like they've grown up with video games and buying these kind of assets, they will understand that value so much better.
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely like just like you're saying, all the generations that are younger than us for sure are into video games, and even generations that are older than you. There's definitely probably a generation ahead of me that I would say definitely was gaming, but in a different way. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, like we've been saying for the last probably 20-30 minutes, that gaming, like, it just makes sense. It just makes sense that like the use case for the technology is there. I think what's missing right now is something fun for people to play. Um, and I I know I say this occasionally, and I know some people feel, I don't know what they feel, but that, in my opinion, is what's lacking from platforms like Decentraland and the Sandbox is fun games. Y-
Right.
I don't feel the draw to go play in the Sandbox whenever I want to play a game. Um, it's fun because there's a community that you can go hang out with, and I think that is part of it. I think that Sandbox is getting that right, and that it's giving people a place to join a community and and play things together. And I think that's awesome, and
Mhm.
they're starting to execute on that. But there's still a lack of actual fun, in my opinion. At least fun in the style of gaming that I play. And I think that's the tipping point, is whenever either one of those platforms, Decentraland, the Sandbox, whatever, figures out a way to allow creators to make those more fun, engaging style games, or someone comes along like the other side and does that, and that's when we will start seeing uh the adoption from people that are outside of this ecosystem, that
Mhm.
because everyone that's in it right now found it in that first bull cycle. Basically, obviously there's people that were found it before that, but the majority of the growth for some of these metaverse gaming platforms happened during the bull cycle, and people that are still engaged in playing those games see the potential, I think, and that's what's keeping them here. But that's kind of my sentiment, is that that's what's lacking, is an actual fun game to actually
Mhm.
onboard more people. And I don't know if that's been your experience too, but
Oh yeah, like I can't even name a single game that's actually fun to play. Uh, Otherwise I'd probably be playing it regularly.
right, I know that's
Like it's I can say it's not Decentraland. That shit is the MySpace of metaverses.
seriously.
Uh, um, Sandbox has got potential for sure. But I'm really excited for the other side to like. Hopefully they got it figured out. But yeah, it's above my pay grade to
Right.
know what's gonna make that work. So
Definitely.
I don't know. Kind of my investments, my investment thesis that I go by in with crypto, if I can just throw this in here, is like I just do everything, just participate. So like I've played the Decentraland, I've done stuff in there. I've at one point owned a plot. That's how I have my perspective on it, my opinion.
Hmm.
I have my opinion on Sandbox from owning the land and building and playing stuff on there, and same with other side. So if it's trash, I will know that because I'm not playing it. I feel like
Right.
you just gotta follow whatever you're genuinely interested in, and not just fake it just because you own something in that world. And if it keeps you genuinely engaged, then it's probably valuable.
Right. And that's kind of been my approach. And like I said, I've with trading, like I said, I held on to things too long, which is why I wasn't like super successful this last cycle. But that's what I based all of my purchases off of, was actually either joining the community or like joining the Discord or whatever, or playing the game and figuring out if there is that spark that pulls me in. Because if I genuinely like it, there's a lot of people out there that are similar to me that are also going to
Hmm.
like it. And
Exactly.
that's like what really starts to click with me is whenever I start feeling a certain way, then I'm like, okay, I should probably take this seriously, because more than likely there's tons of other people that are going to feel the same way. And especially when you're playing that longer term game, it's, as long as it continues to do what was sparking that interest, that enjoyment from you, it'll eventually do that again
Hmm.
with other people. And as more and more people find it, then most likely the value is going to go up, and then that's when you sell. Uh,
Exactly.
so so yeah, that's kind of been my experience. Um, and I don't know, it's been an interesting ride, definitely. But like I said, it was my first true crypto cycle. So I guess that's kind of how it goes. And I'm definitely looking
Yep.
forward to getting into a new bullish cycle, and seeing seeing if I can actually apply the lessons that I've learned along the way, and see what plays out for me this next time. And
Right.
I
I do
also
want to put the disclaimer out for the bullish thing that like I'm still also learning. I feel like you can really never stop learning in this place,
word.
in this space. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm mainly when I'm saying bullish, I think I'm bullish on Bitcoin, as boomer as it is to say. But because NFTs are so young in their cycles, and we've only had one really real NFT cycle, you don't really know how it's going to react compared to how everything else goes. So like I'm hoping it's going to go in our favor, and that when Bitcoin pumps, hopefully things will rotate down the line into NFTs. But I'm
Oh, rugged again. Somebody needs to get Google Fiber.
in my back.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the last time my internet rugs.
It's all good.
My bad. Where'd I cut out?
Um,
Something about Bitcoin. Oh yeah. So yeah, I think
yeah,
Bitcoin
you're
will
on
do
it.
well during the cycle. Not sure what'll happen to NFTs just because there's not enough like data for me to look back at compared to what Bitcoin does.
Yep.
But we're gonna hope for the best. I'm genuinely interested in the gaming aspect of it, so hopefully that means there's something there.
Right. Do do you think there's a reason that when like that NFT trading seems to be kind of, it seems to like follow um the trends of the other cryptos? Like, is that people that are trading that then are going, and then so they're trading the Bitcoin, for example, or Ethereum, and then they're going and moving that money that they made into NFTs. Like, do you think that a lot of that like happens? It seems like it
Oh
would,
yeah,
because like that's
yeah.
like if you're just in it for trading, like it just makes sense to like kind of play both and take profits with one and then go move it into the other one, because then that's going to be another angle for you to take profits from. Do you look at it that way?
hmm Yeah, that's exactly how I was doing it all last cycle, and it
Okay.
worked wonders for me. Yeah, so like that was great, but at the end of the day, like once the cycle was over and then things flipped bear, because like how it would work before that was crypto would pump, and then NFTs would kind of bleed because the their like USD value would be either staying the same or going down. Uh, no, their USD value would be staying the same, but the crypto value would be going up. So technically, the NFTs would be going down in like ETH,
If you look at
and like
it
how many ETH
strictly
would
as
you get.
ETH, yeah.
So the move was ETH pumps, so not sell the ETH, but buy NFTs with it. Then that kind of preserves the ETH value if the NFT is legit. And then ETH goes down, and then the NFTs are going up in ETH now because like it might be the exact same USD value, but now it's worth more in ETH. So you just keep making that trade.
So that's how you
But once the
stack more
thing topped
ETH.
out, yeah. So like basically crypto, like the coins and NFTs were going inverse. They were just taking turns. But when the bear market hit, then everything was going down. And like for me, I will say that's not what I was prepared for because like you didn't have anything that any kind of previous knowledge that would have told you that that was going to happen.
Hmm.
So now I know that, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to do better for this next cycle.
So does that mean that you didn't exit NFTs when you should have?
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
is what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. Like a lot of the profits I made, I put into like CloneX and some bullshit that
Hmm.
just tanked.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had a lot tied up in like Bored Apes and Mutants and stuff that held its value pretty well. Um, but yeah, like I could have had way more money to play with right now if I wouldn't have if instead of just I put like 60 ETH into CloneX at like the very top. If I would have just like
Damn.
sold, if I just would have just put it in USD and waited until right now, I would be sitting so much better.
Hmm. But like you said, you learn every cycle, so there's a
Absolutely.
new
That's the
learning.
thing. Is like the lessons that you learn from taking losses. Like you're paying for these lessons, so you might as well learn something from it. You know?
Right. Right. I mean, I
Yeah. The more you pay for it, the better it's gonna stick with you.
that's true. You're not gonna forget when you lose 60 ETH or whatever. Not to
Exactly.
throw
I don't even
salt in
want
the
to do the
wound.
calculations for it.
Yeah, I don't want to do the calculation for you either. But did okay. Here's a personal question that you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But did you end up taking a loss on the like? What I'm trying to figure out and calculate in my head, I guess, is there a point where you've lost so much that you just hold on to it in hopes that maybe it'll come back, or is it always and obviously this is not financial advice, it's just your opinion, but or does it just always make sense to get out eventually whenever things seem like they're going bad?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. It's a case by case thing. So like for the Clone X stuff, uh, yeah, I spent a ridiculous amount of money on that stuff, and I have sold it all. So
Okay.
like, it didn't go to zero. I sold it all before it went to zero. But I mean, even earlier in the cycle, after I sold, I think it was my second ape, and I probably made like 30 grand off that or something like that. I invested like all that 30 grand into some project that basically went to zero. It's
Mm,
still alive, but I can't get any of my money out of it. So I haven't sold any of that, but I'm just waiting for like, you know, tax season to come around or something because like I can claim it all as a loss.
right.
I don't expect it to come back at all, but I still am holding it all. So it really depends. Like you should sell it before it hits zero, but
At
you
least
know,
get something
sometimes
rather than nothing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Clinics isn't gonna hit zero, but life comes at you fast sometimes, and you can't get out in time.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, sometimes it just happens where you lose it all. But yeah, I
Which,
mean, I've had plenty of huge losses, which is like the crazy thing that I'm still here. It's like you have a couple big wins and it'll offset your huge losses, but yeah, you definitely lose big playing the game.
yeah, it seems like it's almost unavoidable. No matter how you play the game, there's going to be some sort of, I don't want to call it a mistake, but just
Yeah,
a
I mean
loss.
it is. Yeah, like you gotta make the mistake, figure out what you did wrong, so you don't do it last time. That was a 30 grand lesson for me,
Right.
and ever since I fucked that one up, I have not made that same mistake again.
It's like paying for college.
Exactly.
Only
Yeah, it's the school of hard knocks.
probably as long as you actually learn and start doing good at it, probably more lucrative than going to college. Um,
Yeah, it takes years. Just if you want to be a trader, if you're out there listening to this, you want to be a trader, just stick with it. You're gonna take losses, but just learn something. Learn something from those losses. Take responsibility for it. Don't blame it on other people. Blame it on you. Figure out what you did wrong, and then you'll get it right the next time.
right, right. I mean, that's the best way to approach really anything that that you're
100%.
that you're learning and trying to figure out, and taking ownership and learning from the mistake or the failure or whatever, because then it's not 100% a mistake or a failure. You at least
Right.
gain something from it. It might not be of any
Yeah.
monetary value right now, but down the road it could definitely
Right.
turn into something that it wouldn't have if you
Yeah.
didn't
'Cause
learn that.
it's easy to get rugged and then blame the founder for it, but who like it's not like the founder took your hand and pressed buy for you. Like you did that.
Right. Yeah. Um, that's just, I mean, rugs are unfortunate, but if you're gonna play a game like this world is, it's inevitable that I
Hmm.
shouldn't say it's inevitable that you are going to end up investing into a rug, because I think
Oh yeah.
if you are careful and you do only buy things that you really really do believe in, you might be better out or able to avoid it. But any space that has this kind of attention is going to have bad actors that are also in it. So like it
Hmm.
definitely increases the potential of you coming across something like that. um
Yeah. Like you're gonna get rugged if you're in the space, especially like if you're trying to make money. Usually it comes from hitting those trying to hit those home runs.
uh-huh
I've been rugged. I've honestly only been rugged like probably twice in my 6 years, which is honestly pretty crazy numbers. I
I was
can't
gonna
even
say that
lie.
probably
Like
seems pretty
most people
good.
get rugged way more than me, but that's why you don't see me playing those like the day trading really super degen plays because I've been burnt once. And yeah, just be defensive with your money. Don't try to hit the home runs. Just try to preserve as much as you got, and you'll be surprised how long it can stretch.
Do you try and get in I'm thinking about NFTs mainly here, but do you try and get into NFTs early, or do you wait until you start seeing a trend and then that kind of triggers you to buy, or does it kind of depend too?
Yeah, that'll also depend. Like if I'm genuinely interested in it, um, then I would be more willing to buy into something early if I know I'm gonna stick around to just like see it out.
Right.
Um, but I'd say generally, I like to wait until I see something from them until they have a chance to prove themselves. And it also depends on like what the market's doing at the time. Like if we're in full bull market, I will be way more prone to just investing in something early and
Mm-hmm.
hoping it hits because if it does, then I will be out and just covering my initial as soon as I can
Right.
because it'll probably hit faster. Um, but yeah, yeah, I just I like to go balls to the wall in the bull market and then just
Uh-huh.
be completely hands off and bear.
Yeah. That's what I wouldn't say I learned that, but that's what I've done is I've just been completely hands off as far as trading goes since we entered the bear, which like it's interesting because there's still like things that come along every once in a while, and you're like, God damn, that would have been a good one. Like what the fuck are they called? Nakamigos? That, am I even saying it
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like what the where the
I've
fuck did
wanted
that
to
even
watch.
come from? And then like that's what I don't understand is like how like some of these things just come along and take off, and
Yeah.
it just seems like we all know where this is going, but it all continues to play out, which just confuses me. But I don't know. Maybe that's a
Yep.
deeper, a deeper discussion that has other things going on behind the scenes. Who knows? Um,
Yeah, we'll see. I used to get mad at those things because I was like sad that I missed out on them, or like mad that I missed out on them. But yeah, you just got to be happy for the people who are making their money and
right.
just stick to like if you weren't gonna get in at 0.02, nothing changed when they're 1 ETH.
Uh huh.
You just got to keep sticking with what you got
Right.
or what you think.
That's what always like confuses me is that like why do things like that continue to rip? Like because
I have no idea.
I'll see it like shoot up
That's
to
like
one,
first
and then I'm
like
like, oh, that's yeah, same. Like I just like
yeah.
I see it get to one, and it's like, why would I ever get into this now? Because it for sure is gonna stop, and then it just keeps fucking going, and it's like, what are you guys doing with your money? Stop it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's some people just I think I don't know. This is just my like no research, just blunt opinion or guess. But I think some people just have way too much crypto money that they play with it like it's a video game currency,
Oh, yeah.
and
Honestly,
that's what
that's what I
drives a
do.
lot of it. Well,
Yeah, that's like yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I think I play with it like video game money, so I'm less emotional about it. But yeah, I'm still responsible with my money. There's some people who I don't know how they got that kind of risk tolerance.
throw
That's why you don't
around
see me in
all of it.
Nakamigos.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
All right. I really got to hit the bathroom. I don't know how much longer we got on
I
this.
was gonna say we should probably start wrapping up anyways. So
This
that's a good
tequila was getting to me.
that's a good cue to start wrapping it up. If you want to, real quick, just let people know where they can find you, so that they can go show some love, show some support, learn from you along the way. Because it sounds like maybe we're gonna be getting into another bull market, and I know you like to do a lot of public stuff about your trades and stuff. I don't know if you're going to continue with that or whatever, but I would be following you if I wasn't already. So if you're tuning in and you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you go do that. Paper_ape on Twitter. I'm doing it for you. But yeah, if you want to just plug yourself real quick, and then we will say goodbye.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like Crafter said, at paper_ape on Twitter. I don't post as much about my trades as I used to, but I got a Discord also, and honestly, I get way more detailed in there. You'll see everything that I'm doing. But yeah, go follow me on Twitter. Music drop this Friday. It's gonna be free,
Word.
so it'll be like $5 in gas, maybe. Definitely worth it. Collab with a really cool artist who's also local down here in Austin, Texas.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean that's really all I got. I'll be tweeting a lot more about crypto stuff, about trading when the bull market's in full swing. So if you're following me, you'll definitely see it.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you, Crafter, for having me on again. I'm glad that we could do it the second time, and
Absolutely.
hopefully many more in the future.
Definitely. We will definitely have you back on again. Thank you for coming on. It's been fun getting to know you and all that. I'm trying to let you go. I was just one thing that popped in my head. Just so
For sure.
that you guys know that are catching this live, and this is why you should catch it live. Is that this episode isn't going to get released until next week on Friday. So you guys that are catching it live are the only ones that I mean, obviously other people are going to know about it, but you guys are the only ones that are getting the alpha from watching this episode for that free mint that's happening on Friday. So make sure you take advantage of that, because I think that this guy's doing some awesome stuff with his music, and you should definitely go check him out and support him, because like you said, it's free. It's only going to cost like $5 in gas, so why not? And who knows, maybe you'll be able to play it and trade it down the road and
Yeah, that's the goal.
make a little bit of money
Yeah.
for
If I
yourself.
can make my collectors some money, I will be very happy about that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you. If you're catching the replay, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And I will catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.